Welcome into a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember, online at GEAUX.Chevrolet.com. The Carpool Queen is out in California for the week, celebrating some stuff with David with work. They'll be out for until Thursday. And Lizzie is here.
Speaking of celebrations.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, buddy. We'll talk all about it. Stewie is here. And Jamil is here. Looks like you two tied one on earlier this weekend. No microphone over there for you, which is lucky for you because you're not going to be recapping your weekend.
Hey, there's two seats over here. Feel free.
Right.
Dance Battle Queen.
Remember to hit that like button, share button, comment
Get it
button.
going again.
as we appreciate you being here on this Monday morning with us. Greg Brooks, the talented transfer safety from Arkansas, is going to be here in the second hour today talking some LSU football. Got a text into Wilson Alexander. I hit him with an early text. He's usually good for a response and good to come on with us. He'll be here hopefully at 8 o'clock this morning talking about the Will Campbell piece that he published over the weekend. I believe it was in the Sunday Advocate, detailing the Will Campbell, just the rise of Campbell through spring, his recruitment, all of what was gone into the five-star offensive tackle, trending towards playing early on in his freshman season and holding down that left side of the line of scrimmage for LSU's offensive line. We'll talk all about that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. As we said, our phone line is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Remember, real doctors, real solutions. Get in touch with Jason Ramazan and Charlie Harvey for all of your medical needs. Real doctors, real solutions with our friends over at Metropolitan Health Group. We will talk LSU football. We will talk LSU recruiting. The Tigers on a heater. 8 commits in the last 9 days. We'll tell you how LSU has gone from the mid-40s in recruiting rankings to a top 10 recruiting class here over the last 8 days, with more on the horizon as it looks like, with the hashtag Shelton Stays. Talking about Shelton Sampson, the talented 5-star wide receiver from Catholic High. We'll jump into all of that here on the Jordy Culotta Show. So make sure that you hit that like button, share button, comment button
subscribe
as we start
button.
off. Yes, if you have not subscribed, make sure you do that. Got a piece of really good news and some sad news to start us off here on this Monday. The real good news is that Kelly Calandro and I, my longtime girlfriend, have committed to each other over the weekend. We're getting married, which is exciting, man. It is very exciting. It's been a long time coming, and we made the announcement over the weekend. It actually happened on Thursday night, and we celebrated and now made the announcement kind of publicly yesterday. So it's been awesome, man, to see all of the feedback, the love, and all of the support from everybody out there, and really looking forward to celebrating this with all the friends and family over the next couple of months.
Nothing like finding out on Instagram from your friend/boss, boss/friend. That's more question than that.
That's right.
That I might be holding the ring.
I guess that's 2022.
Oh,
right?
oh yeah, you're
right?
fitting right in. You should have done it on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't even have an account. Yet. But it's awesome, man. It's been awesome. Obviously, Kelly is she's awesome, and she's been an incredible girlfriend, partner, and really the difference was after she met Jordan, man. It's our relationship totally changed, and for where we are now, and what she's done for our home and everything that means to me and our relationship. It's really cool to have this now, kind of moving forward to getting married, and we're going to be doing that right at the beginning of the year. We're going to do it on New Year's Eve. So it is it's awesome. We appreciate it. All the love and support. Yes, so mark it down.
Get about a
New
plus
Year's
10.
Yeah, right. No, we definitely made the list with the crew in it. Everybody. I don't know if everybody's got a +1, but everybody will be there for sure. So great news, man. We appreciate all of the love and support again. So we'll be talking a lot about that over the next couple of months, obviously. And then I did want to start with
George's going to have a little brother.
Yeah, possibly. Well, speaking of little Jay, dropped him off at Dixie basketball camp, or now they call it String Music basketball camp, over in Summit, Mississippi yesterday, which was started by Joe Dean, the longtime athletic director of LSU and the old executive with Converse. This is a camp that I believe is now close to 50 years old. Last year was Jay's first year. Kelly went out of town for a little bit of the weekend. We waited on her to get back yesterday and drove him up to Summit, Mississippi, and dropped him off yesterday afternoon with all of his buddies. I mean, literally, he has been talking about this day for 365 days since we got back from Dixie last year. He actually asked last year on his first trip to the camp if he could stay for a second week when we went to go pick him up after the first week, which I was worried and concerned he was going to call us in the middle of the week to come pick him up.
This is the camp where he went with all of his boys.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Right.
It's like straight up bunker style. Like you're in bunk
absolutely.
beds, sneak in heavyweights, candy in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God,
that probably has to get more interesting the older they get.
No doubt.
It goes from candy to like porno mag.
Well, I mean,
to
some of the questions he was asking when he got back from camp last year, you were like, wow,
Whoa.
bro,
Who were you-
you've
who was-
grown up a lot. I mean, just 4 days away, that's all it took?
Hey, man.
And you're asking, what 69 means?
Get around other kids. They
What do you
know
mean?
about
What
it.
does it mean?
Well,
It's a number.
Yeah.
What do you think it
Yeah,
means?
one away from 70.
Yeah, right. And I mean, his description, I was like, I learned stuff when he described it. You know what I mean? Like when he came back from camp. But
Wait, tell me that again.
yeah, exactly.
Kelly,
Demonstrate.
Right. Have you heard this?
got me married.
But yesterday, him and his buddy. So like it starts in 5th grade, and then 5th and 6th grade are like the ACC, then 7th and 8th are the SEC, and then I believe like 9th and 10th the ABA, and then like 11th and 12th is the NBA. And he gave us a call last night, and he is one of 2 5th graders that they asked to play up in the SEC. So he was nervous last night, getting ready for this morning to get ready for the games. It's him and his buddies, little Tyler Foreman and Cooper Hessex, actually his 2 roommates.
Oh no!
So their room.
That's perfect though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
let's get comfortable.
Absolutely.
Are they all both called up, or
Yeah,
one of them?
all 3 of them.
Okay, thank
All 3.
God.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
if the
no
one's
doubt.
left out, brother,
No doubt.
you might have to go to a different bunk.
Actually,
our practice is at 6:30.
You got traded, bro. Right. But it was awesome too. It was really just a great weekend in celebrating the news with Kelly and I, and then obviously little Jay. I know that Kelly put Jordan's note on social media, so I mean, really, you can see what this weekend meant for our family and just for everybody that's involved in it, and he's ecstatic, which I mean, really kind of pushes the whole thing over the top. And like I said, our relationship really changed when she met Jordan and he met her.
And you met Copper.
Yes, absolutely. I
Copper
mean, I've
changed his
become a
life.
dog dad.
You have,
bro.
yeah. You used to walk and you go,
I used to hate dogs.
get out of here, and now you're like, hey.
Now I just like
yeah.
that dog.
Yeah, there you go. That's all it takes.
Don't
is
bring
one.
your dog
One
around
dog.
here, but I like that.
For sure. If you have not, you see our QR code up there in the top right of the screen. That is for our friends over at Caesar Sportsbook, and that is with the promo code FM15 already involved in it. We've gotten cleared on a really cool giveaway that we're going to be telling you about for the LSU Florida State game in New Orleans. Which I can't give you all the details yet, but just stand by. We'll be giving you that over the next couple of days, as we are really looking forward to bringing you the opportunity to get down in New Orleans, watch the game, give you a chance to stay somewhere for LSU Florida State on opening college football weekend. Compliments of our friends over at Caesar Sportsbook. All you have to do to apply, and we'll get you all the details, is you got to sign up with the promo code FM15. FM15, the letter F, the letter M, 15 is the promo code. Get a depositable, make a deposit into your account, make a bet to make it official, and you'll be entered to win. And I'll get you all the details coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show as the details come out. So, from a piece of great news to start the weekend to some terrible news that came through the wire to start the weekend, and that is one of Baton Rouge's one of Baton Rouge's favorite sons in Jimmy Williams, who was an Episcopal graduate and a standout athlete of the Baton Rouge area, passed away at 43 years old on Friday. And if you are from Baton Rouge, if you have followed Baton Rouge athletics, if you are familiar with Episcopal, if you're familiar with Louisiana high school football, or just watching Jimmy go from Episcopal to Vanderbilt, where he was a standout, and then a couple of NFL teams and picking up a Super Bowl ring with the Seattle Seahawks during his time, you realize what type of athlete Jimmy was. And, man, he was electric on any sporting field that he took. I remember growing up, when I was growing up, my dad was very young when I was born, and he actually has a younger sister. My dad has a younger sister that's only 2 years older than me. So I have an aunt, essentially, that is like an older sister to me. When we were growing up, we were very much, more brother and sister than we were, aunt and nephew. And she went to Episcopal starting her 9th grade year. And I was always around them. Like, she had just gotten her license at the time, so she would come pick me and my friends up from school. And we were always around that class. And Jimmy Williams and my aunt were in the same Episcopal graduating class of 1997. So I got to know Jimmy fairly young. When he was in 9th grade is when I first met him. And when you met him, he's got this natural athletic physique to him where he looked much older than he was. I mean, at 15, he looked 20. At 20, he looked 25, just because of how physically advanced and gifted he was when you initially met him. But if you had the chance to get to know him, you realize that he was someone that was so humble and so kind and polite, even when, we're at the top of your athletic kind of scale. When you can have a big head, you may not treat people the way that they deserve to be treated, or you don't even recognize how people look at you. Jimmy Williams always took the time to recognize what people thought about him and sent you the respect back and treated you like a human being. I was 2 years younger than Jimmy and always looked up to Jimmy because of his athletic abilities, but he always treated me like a human being from the first time that I met him, which made us, really felt like, to me, close friends. I mean, the last time I saw Jimmy, Randy Richard, who's the athletics director over at Episcopal, gave me a call to come check out the facilities. They had just opened up the facilities at Episcopal, where they got new facilities on campus. And actually, Kelly, my fiance, is a graduate from Episcopal. She's a former all-state volleyball player. And, she was, someone that they asked to come back and look at the facilities. And, she was like, wow, I can't believe how much the place has changed. And when I went back over there, just from playing against Episcopal and having Katie, my aunt, go there, my younger sister went to Episcopal, so I had some familiarity with the campus and just realized how much it had changed. Jimmy showed me around that day along with Randy. And it was, just kind of it was probably a year and a half ago, and had seen him at a couple of events, over the past couple of months and years. But to see the news that Jimmy Williams, George the Greek says, am I the only one who doesn't know who he's talking about? If you don't, George, I apologize, but you should Google the name Jimmy Williams if you're from Baton Rouge or have Louisiana ties, just to realize the human being that we want to celebrate here in his passing, because of just how many lives he affected. Like I said, his athletic accomplishments speak for itself. At Episcopal, he was his senior year at Episcopal. Travis Minor was the running back at Catholic High. Travis Minor was the Gatorade National Player of the Year. He was the #1 recruit in the country. If you go back and look at him, he went on to go play at Florida State, and he was a first-year starter for Florida State. And this is when Bobby Bowden and Florida State were still at the top of the mountain. In fact, I think all 4 of Travis Minor's years at Florida State, they played for a national championship. I think all 4 years they were in either the discussion or they played for a national championship, just to give you an idea of the program that Florida State was at the time. And Jimmy Williams and Travis Minor locally in the area were as two nationally recognized recruits at the same position that Louisiana had in a long time, man. And Williams was doing it on a 2A level. Minor was doing it on a 5A level. But when you put them side by side at off-season camps, I remember I saw them both work out at LSU's football camp going into their senior season, and there wasn't an eyelash difference between them as far as ability went. I mean, it was – Williams went on to have a very successful career in the NFL. But what stood out more about Williams was the type of person that he was, man, really. And I know that is said about people that have passed, and you remember them and you say, hey, man, it was really about the human being. But Jimmy Williams was gold. He was as good as it got as far as just the human being aspect of life. And when I saw the news of his passing on Friday, man, it stopped me in my tracks. It really did. And I think anybody that knows Jimmy, that has been close to Jimmy, has kind of been anticipating that the end was coming because of just his illness. He was suffering from a specific type of cancer that was very aggressive over the past couple of years. But if you have heard me speak, you know that I love coaching little Jay on flag football and going out there and all that stuff. And Jimmy Williams' flag football team over the last couple of years, he's got a son, Ace, who's going to be a dog. But Jimmy was the coach for that team, and they would pull up and they would be pulling wagons, playing music, and they would all be dancing coming into the stadium, and they had their team. And look, they didn't lose a game. They were pretty intimidating, but you could see just the joy for life that he always had. And I don't mean to start this Monday off with, the sad news and the somber mood to starting the week, because I don't think that we need to just kind of get too down in the gutter on it, because I think that Jimmy Williams deserves to be celebrated. And I just wanted to make sure that we took the time on this platform to recognize him, because he will be greatly missed in our community. He will be greatly missed, I know, at Episcopal on that campus because of how many lives he affected. And he will be missed all over. If you've seen the outpouring, the NFL, certain franchises with the NFL, all types of people from Vanderbilt, all types of people all over the country have remembered Jimmy Williams as he passed away on Friday. And we wanted to make sure and remember him here because of the impact that he not only had on me, but just this community. And if you're from Baton Rouge, if you went to Episcopal, if you have any familiarity with that part of our community, you know what Jimmy Williams meant to it. So I'm so sorry to his family and to everybody over at Episcopal, who I know is going through a lot of grief right now, remembering the life and love that Jimmy Williams was always spreading while he was here. And he will be greatly missed, always remembered, never forgotten, especially on this show. So rest in peace to Jimmy Williams. We'll be right back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show. Give us about 2 minutes to reset. We'll be back, and we'll start to detail the weekend of LSU football, or not just the weekend, the past couple of days for LSU football. 8 commits in the last 9 days. They were ranked number 40 in the country as far as recruiting was concerned a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Now they're number 7 in the country, or as high as number 7 in the country. So they're rolling right now. Remember, we're brought to you by Men's Total Health. Men'sTotalHealth.net. Online is where you can find them. They're located down on Veterans Memorial Avenue down in or Veteran Memorial Highway down in New Orleans. Stop in and see them. All the information online at Men'sTotalHealth.net. If you suffer from low testosterone, if you're having trouble
Katie got
sleeping,
that shot that went on vacation.
She did. She did. She had a pretty active Thursday down at Men's Total Health. She stayed back and
Had to
met with
get
the
the treatment
doctors
for free.
That's right. I went and met. Went and met Kelly for lunch down in New Orleans. And when I'd come back, she had gotten a couple of shots. And
That's how you get married.
She will be ready to talk all about that when she comes back here on Friday. But remember, over at Men's Total Health, that they can help you out with testosterone. If you're suffering from low free T, then they can help you out. Mike Roach, his got great experience over in Houston, brought it back over here to New Orleans, and now it's online. menstotalhealth.net. menstotalhealth.net. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
I think I need.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier, Kyron Lacey, Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team, make a difference. Bet. Let's get it done.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Do you suffer from chronic dehydration? Are you looking to improve your athletic performance and you need to get over and see our friends over at GoFlow IV? They're located on Jefferson Highway. Easy to find them online at GEAUXFlowIV.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. If you do, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Check them out online, GEAUXFlowIV.com.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southernyecenters.com. That is southernyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, southernyecenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
This show in particular, highlighting the players that I've seen come through here, and the coaches, we're grateful to have the opportunity.
Inspiration, man.
Appreciate
I
that.
cannot wait to watch your group play. And the reason we said this to the public, we wanted to get you on, is because everybody that's come through here, recruit, player in the locker room, coaches, have mentioned your name of making an impact on their time or their decision to be at LSU. So keep doing it right, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Like I said, you give our guys a platform. they come in talking about the show. So
Yeah.
this is awesome. Nice setup too. I might steal one of these couches.
Hey, you got it, bro. You got it. We got a lot of gear for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
LSU cornerbacks coach Robert Steeple's in with us for that was great conversation. I ended up at a lunch yesterday with 3 suits from WAFB.
In the Jays.
In the J's, in the hat, in the T-shirt. I thought I was going to meet one suit, and we actually showed up to the same restaurant that 2 other suits were eating at. We all conjoined table and had an executive lunch with everybody from WAFB. A lot of good return on the show early on. A lot of good feedback. They think we ought to start fining for cursing in the first hour.
Fining who?
Fining for whoever does it.
Like fining each other?
Yeah.
We're going to have a swear jar?
A swear jar.
Okay.
Tough.
7 a.m. between the 7 and 8 a.m. hour.
It's Lloyd that would
That's
have
exactly
the
what they
problem.
said.
So
That's exactly what they said. The suit said. He said, Lloyd pushes the envelope on the cussing thing we've talked about. Hey, how's the show? We're all kind of like passing the bread, you know what I mean? Like early, like I'm just trying to fit in at this table. They're like, oh yeah, the show's good. What's the guy in on the couch? What's Lloyd? Is it Lloyd? Yeah, Lloyd. What about him? He sure does push the line on the cussing thing, doesn't he? Which, by the way, there's no rules to our contract at WAFB that states that, we can't cuss at a certain time or, we've got to change the show at any point. There's been no discussions of changing anything that we do from WAFB. That's All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, here live on this Monday morning. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. All right, LSU added a 5-star wide receiver over the weekend and a 3-star linebacker. 5-star wide receiver Jaylen Brown out of Miami announced his commitment to LSU on Friday, giving Brian Kelly their biggest addition so far to the 2023 class. He is the highest-rated prospect to pledge to LSU. Now, it seems like there is some news that could be trending in the right direction for LSU with another 5-star wide receiver. I have just traded a couple of text messages, people close to Shelton Sampson and his recruit, directly close and tied to Shelton Sampson's recruitment, and they say do not anticipate a commitment or an announcement over the next couple of days from Sampson. He's got a couple of more trips lined up, including one to Texas A&M at the end of the month that I know that the family is looking for. I can tell you one good sign is that the Alabama official visit, the mom did not make the trip, which they say that the champion in this recruitment is Miss Sampson. I know that everybody looks at Shelton Sampson and remembers his dad. People that do remember his dad in this area, Shelton Sampson, senior running back standout at Redemptorist, went on to play at Northwestern, would believe that he would probably be the champion or at least the primary recruiting relationship that you would want to form and want to get and gain ground with. But in fact, it is the mom, Miss Sampson, who you have to make the most inroads with. I will say this. A dark horse, or maybe not even a dark horse anymore, but one in this recruitment to watch because he is so familiar with the family, the relationships already built in, is Florida State because of former Catholic High football coach Gabe Fertitta. And Gabe, if you remember, he was one of the first guests that we had on our show. It was right after Catholic High had won a state championship.
It's impressive.
It was multiple state championships on Fertitta's resume. Now, the LHSAA came after him. They got in a little trouble in the way that they were winning. I look at that, and everybody's doing that. Everybody's doing that.
I look at that and I see a winner.
Absolutely. But for Gabe Fertitta's standpoint, I think he thought he would be the head coach at Catholic High for a decade. And then when some things started to shuffle around, he started to, look around for jobs. People saw what he was doing. He had some college opportunities. He jumped up to Louisville and had really good success in establishing relationships and showing how good of a recruiter he is. Florida State recognized that in 1 year out of high school football. He's at Louisville 2 years out of high school football. Now he's on Florida State staff and making a couple of inroads on some local guys that can really, get you a job if you're a college football coach. And one of those guys is Shelton Sampson. And Gabe Fertitta has done a bang-up job in making Florida State relevant in Sampson's recruitment. Will they win out? I don't know. But I can tell you they're going to be somebody that whoever is going to win this recruitment is going to have to battle to the end, and they may get it. But the hashtag Shelton Stays, does anybody know where this started? Like what it came from?
That's what I was going to ask you. Is like, have you ever seen some? I mean, obviously we're in the age of like social media, and this is something that can happen. But I've never really seen anything like this from players on the team that were all hopping on board.
Yeah, me either. I've never seen.
I mean, what an ego blast!
Jeez.
Has to feel great. Like not a good or bad way. Just like, hey, dude,
Like,
these
they
guys
really
want me to
They
come
like me.
here. Yeah. You like me. You really like me.
But
I've
I mean,
never
you know how much that
seen
means to a 17-year-old.
Absolutely. But I'm wondering if it's like a directive from like the staff to be like, hey, everybody tweet out Shelton Stays, or if it happened organically.
I can't imagine that would be a directive from the coaches.
Because then it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But if they had just caught fire on Twitter.
And then why are we just doing it for him?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
because if you do it, that's A&M territory if you start doing it for every recruit, for everybody, right? You want to only, like, this is just I feel like it's a very one-time scenario because you have a guy from Baton Rouge that's a 5-star wide receiver that's obviously going on trips elsewhere, has ties to, like you said, Florida State, where they like got him dressed up as Peter Warwick, like put the 6 on him, and like that's a big pull for them. That's
was Peter Warwick 9?
9. They put the 9 on him, and then if you don't put 2, that's the next best number at Florida State. And so he was like feeling himself in the uniform, and then you see all the flurry of LSU players tweeting like Shelton Stays. Which I just have never seen anything like that before in terms of current players tweeting to get a recruit, which I think is a good thing. It's a coup. Like make this man feel bad about leaving.
No, absolutely. And look, I think anybody who does know Shelton or is close to his recruitment knows that. I mean, he's a mama's boy. It's gonna be tough to leave her, but in the world of NIL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Private plane.
It could easily be soothed, right? I mean, you could easily kind of sway me in the world of NIL with a 5-star wide receiver. Now, this would be a enormous get for LSU right now. I don't think that Shelton has plans to make an announcement anytime soon. I think that he's going to try and not play the game, but I think that he's going to enjoy recruiting, right? It only happens one time in your life. You're a 5-star, which kind of makes you even more unique in these types of situations that happen. I mean, it's a cool time of your life. And Sampson, I think, is going to enjoy every minute of it. And good for him. So I don't think that he's going to make a announcement here anytime soon on where he's going. I do believe that LSU is going to be in it at the end. Joe Sloan, I know, is doing great work on this. I know that Frank Wilson, obviously, Cortez Hankton is overseeing this recruitment, along with Mike Denbrock and Brian Kelly. I think that they are using a lot of resources to show Sampson how much he means to LSU. And it felt like over the last couple of days that you were going to get a commitment possibly from Sampson after a couple of text messages that I've shared with people that are very close to Sampson and in this recruitment. I wouldn't anticipate that. I don't think that is going to happen here, over the next couple of days. I definitely see this going a couple of weeks, maybe even another month.
Do you think he'll be an early enrollee wherever he goes?
Catholic High doesn't allow that.
Oh, shit. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, if Emory Jones couldn't do it, nobody would do it.
Why do they do that?
I don't.
It really I know, but you got to. that really hurt Emory Jones and hurt LSU, right? Because if
U
he's
High
able
didn't
to
allow it. I know that. I mean, that's why Dylan Moses left.
Do you think that rule changes? Just who puts that in place? Just the school?
School.
Yeah,
The school doesn't give you the opportunity to get the credits to graduate. So I don't know. I mean, they would maybe even have to like change up their curriculum. I mean, to do that. I don't think that high schools look at that as a benefit for them, right? It's a lot like
How couldn't it be? We offer the curriculum for you to graduate early and go to college early. That's a huge coup for you to be able to go there, right? Like we offer enough college credits that you can graduate high school early. That looks great on your resume.
No, I mean, look, I think that
even if it's football or not.
Yeah, I think that's what I think that's the perception over it, and
they think their education is so great that you need to get it all.
Yeah.
I mean,
stay here till May.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Not to put you in a tough spot.
I'm sure that's probably what they're thinking. You know what I mean?
They'll do it better. College.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody has any experience with Catholic schooling, not just here locally, anywhere. I mean, there's a lot of entitlement.
Well,
you know what I mean? There's a lot of I told you so.
God, if you'd have told me I could have graduated early, I might have tried a little harder. Get me out of this place.
Yes. No doubt.
Hell.
No doubt.
I'm ready to go.
But
home.
I got to imagine that somebody like Quinn Ewers looks back on that and probably regrets that for the rest of his life.
Oh, like he left Texas.
He missed his entire senior season to prove a point.
But he made maybe money.
Made a lot of money, but
Can you imagine
I'm talking
BMOC
about 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, BMOC.
You know what I mean? They were. I want to say that they were preseason top 5 in the country, and he was the number 1 recruit in the country. I mean, that's 12 games that you can't get back. That's 12 games and one experience that you'll never be able to recapture. I don't know if there's enough money, not for 1 year, that makes enough sense to take you away from that.
Not my senior year, no.
Exactly.
No chance.
I mean,
that's crazy to think.
Could
you imagine leaving your boys?
Not your senior year. Could you imagine Quinn Ewers' senior year?
I'm about to light y'all up for 60.
He's the best player in the country.
Who was their backup?
On maybe the best team in the country.
Ow. Left the backup in the wind, dude. Like, it would have been some sophomore, 5'11".
He had to let the backup know before he left. Like, he was like, hey, look, bro, I think I'm
I'm jetting.
Think I'm out.
Yeah.
So get ready to play.
Maybe some people believe that would be an easy choice. But, I mean, look what happened. He wound up back in Texas.
Babies and memories.
Huge NIL deal as the starting quarterback for UT.
Get you one of these. Get you one of these, boys.
That would. I mean, that feels like that's what it would have been either way.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably should have went to Texas.
Do you think you lose friends over that? You bailed on all your boys.
You do.
And didn't even go play. You threw 2 passes at Ohio State. Then you came back to your hometown and home state.
What a terrible conversation for the coach.
Coach, they offered me a milli.
Coach, can I come see you? You're probably like, no. Why?
No, what?
What's going on?
They pulled me out of Catholic school. I didn't know my our fathers.
So LSU is riding a heater right now. And all of you out there that were panicking over the recruitment, boy, don't y'all look like fools. And it surely wasn't this show. Jaylen Brown, the 5-star wide receiver out of Miami, pledged on Friday.
The Weeks really put it together.
And then Whit Weeks, a 3-star linebacker out of Georgia. He's also the younger brother of West Weeks, who transferred in from Virginia earlier this year, committed as a linebacker in the country. This continues a major week for LSU, or that did. LSU got 8 commitments in 9 days. As we said, boosting their class rankings from mid-40s 10 days ago to top 10 nationally. Since July 1st, LSU has added 4 top 250 defensive linemen. Jackson Howard, who's the number 1 player in Minnesota. Deshaun Womack, who's the number 1 player in Maryland. Josh Mickens, who's the number 1 player in Indiana. And Deron Reed, who is a 4-star standout out of the state of Georgia, all pledged to Jamar Cain in LSU's defensive line. They also picked up a couple of DBs as Robert Steeples and Kerry Cooks picked up Ashton Stamps and Jeremiah Hughes. Stamps is out of New Orleans while Hughes is out of Vegas. And then we said, West Weeks, or excuse me.
Whit
Weeks. White Weeks. Just, I mean, the whitest names.
He'd be a 4-star. His name wasn't White Weeks.
Speaking of Catholic High.
Jesus. 4-year starter, sit at the table.
And then Jalen Brown.
He didn't miss his prom. I can guarantee
Lord.
it.
White
Wit.
But
Where's my Letterman jacket?
But for whatever, I mean, people freak out. People freak out over Wit Weeks. I mean, I remember when I was like, "Who's the Wes Weeks guy?" Like the transfer for they had to take him for his brother. I'm like,
okay,
who's his brother?
Right.
Like, I mean, have you not seen Wes Weeks highlight? I'm like, nah.
Wit Weeks.
I hadn't seen her. Whatever, dude.
Double dub.
Jeez. But the guy, like,
But have
supposedly, yes, I have now. I mean,
Deep snapper.
once everybody was pushing me to go see him play, and last all, I mean, in the middle of the spring, I was going to watch him. I mean, I get it. He does everything. He went to the same high school that Max Johnson went to. In fact, Big Bad Brad
Back by popular demand.
is his high school coach, or at least one of his coaches.
Do you think he would come on the show again?
Possibly.
That would be an interesting get to talk about. We're just talking about Wit. No Max talk.
Possibly.
Max is going to be the starter too for A&M.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, for sure.
He is.
28 touch, 6 picks at LSU.
Yeah.
That's pretty good considering it was a calamity on offense.
But Jimbo did say he got his quarterback this year in the recruiting class. 5-star
This past
quarterback.
cycle.
Yeah, this past cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I don't think that he's the long-term answer talking about Johnson. I think he's just kind of holding it warm for somebody.
Stopgap.
This year.
Yeah.
Does he go pro after this year? He'll put up good numbers.
He has to.
Coach, I don't.
Because you got
he's too foot heavy.
Yeah.
His feet are too heavy to play in the league.
You were the one saying he was an athlete last year.
I mean, I was, but then I watched him play for 13 games, and he doesn't look like an NFL quarterback.
I don't know. I don't think he was put in a position to ever succeed.
No.
It felt like they didn't know what they were doing on offense every snap.
Well, they definitely did not.
I mean,
he was diagnosing stuff at the line. That's why it took forever.
But I still don't know if he's an NFL quarterback.
When you come out of a TV timeout,
he's smart.
3-minute TV timeout, and still have to call a
You
timeout.
burn one?
You don't know what you do.
Was that the Auburn game?
Yeah.
The game we were at home.
That was
at night.
That was a clown show.
That was a clown.
The
show.
Auburn game was a clown show.
The game you have to.
I mean,
that was your season on the line.
They might as well have let the Jordy Culotta show crew run that game.
I mean,
we might as well have had the headsets on.
Yeah, we could have.
Ask Madden. Like, let's get the dive.
Let's
Let's get a play and let's get to 2nd and 8.
And the part that was most concerning / just frustrating about that was that they had recognized it all week. Remember, like, leading up to it, they were like, we are emphasizing getting the plays in on time. We're not going to have any. I mean, like, and I want to say, like, the first series.
It was awful.
It was awful.
I think he burned a timeout.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Timeout, damn
Dude, you know what's great about this year? Like, all coaching and recruiting, whatever side, that's not going to happen. None of that's going to happen. You're going to have plays in.
Oh, yes.
Like, it's not going to be a pound my chest, break it down on the motherfucking 50-yard line. None of that.
No,
It's just going to be
jar.
business.
Pay the fine.
Oh, will. O's got a big enough buyout. He'll send it to me. I'll Venmo request him.
Send me 10.
I don't know. If we give him the address here, he might hunt us down and kill us at this point.
A fishing hole.
J-Boy.
J-Boy.
Right. Is it a J-Boy?
Oh, let me say something real quick. Oh, God. Let's get back to football.
Edward Jones brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, daily you can find Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones helping you out with your finances. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com is where you can find him. If you have any financial questions about getting your finances right, and remember, if you work within the industrial industry, if you work within the plant industry, anywhere in the listening area, if you can hear this, Daniel Newman can help you. In fact, he was telling us about some of our listeners over in Houston. They got in touch with Newman and from the industrial industry about helping them out with their finances. If he can help you, remember he probably can. Get in touch with him this morning. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com is where you can find them online to get in touch with them there. So LSU continuing to roll in recruiting, as we said. Jalen Brown feels like it is going to go down to the end.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that LSU was able to secure the commitment from him on Friday. But if you read some of his comments, you can see that the hometown Miami Hurricanes is really had the heat turned up on him for the last couple of months. And now with the LSU commitment, probably is going to turn up the heat even hotter. Now, with him being in their backyard, remember, he can now take a lot more unofficial visits to Miami than he can to LSU. This is very similar from LSU having a recruit close to campus that they can bring in unofficially and that other schools just don't have that type of access to. So Jalen Brown is right in the heart of South Beach. Miami right now is making a clear intent on becoming more dominant and relevant within the recruiting and within the college football space. And the way that they're recruiting it right now at a very high level. I mean, I would put them in the same, in the same conversations as Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, LSU, everybody that's out there making waves in recruiting. Miami is right there in the conversation as a school who can get big-time recruits and get big-time commits. So sneaking into Miami's backyard and getting Jaylen Brown over the weekend was a huge nab for Cortez Hankton and this staff.
And that's what you put your faith in, right? The fact that Cortez Hankton recruited him while he was at Georgia, continues the relationship over to LSU, gets the commitment while he's at LSU. It's the relationships part of recruiting that you rely on in this aspect, right?
And even Brian Kelly and Notre Dame. I mean, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame at one point was the leading school for Jaylen Brown very early in his recruitment. I know that Brown's parents, most notably his mom, puts a heavy emphasis on the academic side of being a student athlete. That she is making sure that there is a lot of focus being put on the academic side. And the graduate champions moniker that LSU is really selling on the recruiting trail is something that has stuck with Jaylen Brown and his family. Now, there's NIL deals that are at his doorstep from the University of Miami, and I'm sure that LSU is having to do something from an NIL standpoint to keep themselves relevant in this recruitment. But this is by no means do I feel like it's over. Just like I had it told to me over the weekend, which was really a good sign, that Derek Williams' recruitment is far from over.
That would be egg on my face.
Egg on my face.
Egg on everybody's face in here.
Yeah, well, I think it was more of a response to what we said.
I'll take the credit.
Not that they
if we
were
get him
tracking us down, but I mean, like, I think the way that the conversation started with Derek Williams was kind of like, oh, by the way, like I heard what you had to say about what Williams was going to Baton Rouge. I wouldn't yet close the casket on that one just yet. It ain't dead yet. So
Undertaker.
I think we ain't done yet.
Right.
I don't think we going home yet.
So,
that would be unbelievable.
It would be. It would be a hell of a flip, a hell of a change in course and change in direction. I know that LSU is continuing to slam the gas down on the recruitment of Derek Williams.
Have you seen the graphic with all the DBs? All the DBs from this 2023 recruiting class? It's pretty much all the commits. Derek Williams. I think Jordan Matthews might be on there. But it's all the LSU commits right now, and Derek Williams and a couple others that aren't committed to LSU. But that's their class. It seems like that's who they want in the class.
Yeah.
We did the same thing with Jacoby Matthews last year. Who was he teammates with that they kept putting them together on the bootleggers? Do you remember?
LaTerrence Welch.
Yes. They kept saying, they're both good. I feel like that's where NIL really hit us over the head. Was it feel like Jacoby wanted to come to LSU?
I mean, did you see the videos from the visit? Him and Harold Perkins and LaTerrence Welch.
They put them all together in like when you talk. If you want to do graphic talk,
right?
Because it felt like they really pried him away, and like you painted a picture of him like driving to A&M, I'm sure flying to A&M, where he's like, I don't really want to go here, but I have to. Like it felt like he was an LSU guy until that was the first time I realized like NIL is playing a major factor here. Aside from our conversation with Walter Nolan, when it seemed like he was an LSU lock.
No, I mean it's definitely changing the narrative of what happens on signing day. I think Jacoby Matthews was the one that we have the clearest example of somebody, even Denver Harris.
Yes.
I mean the cornerback out of Houston. I mean, these are guys that, the entire time they were being recruited was looking at LSU as like a dream school type scenario, some place that they had seen since they had been kids, that they had grown up wanting to play at, but at the end, when the deal came in,
too good to pass up.
Yeah, it was just the money was too good to,
and that's when
too good to pass on.
I guess that's when you hope that there's a portal where the transfer portal plays a factor where they go to whatever insert school A. And it's not what they think it is. That's where you run into, is this a 3-year deal? How do you buy them out of a contract or whatever? Because you're dealing with 18, 19-year-old kids where they're going to go, get me the hell out of here. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, we've all made, like, imagine little Jay goes to the camp and he hates it the first year, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I'll go pick him up. Whatever it takes, I'll go get him. My kid doesn't want to be here for another, 2 weeks? Imagine it being a year. You know, you're like, I'd imagine, it's still your son. It's still whoever is in charge of that kid, or feels like they are, will go make a move to do whatever it takes to go get them and make them happy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'd imagine that's where the transfer portal kicks in and becomes a actual conversation of, or I'm on the phone every night with my dad, with my mom. Like, I don't want to be here, dude.
Yeah, and look, LSU is expected to get a big announcement. Is it tomorrow that Caleb Jackson is announcing from Liberty?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think LSU is going to win out in that recruitment. So that'll be the second running back that they put in the class, and that'll be the number 1 and number 2 running back in the state of Louisiana. When you talk about Trey Holly up in North Louisiana, and you talk about Caleb Jackson down here at Liberty, those are 2 of the top running backs in the state. Think about that position last cycle. Trevante Citizen going down to the end with Trevante Citizen.
Oh, he got our ass.
Le'Veon Moss out of a Stroomer right here in Baton Rouge. I mean, those guys go to Miami and Texas A&M respectively. Those were the top 2 backs in the state of Louisiana last year. Now to come back the next cycle later and get the number 1 and number 2 back in the state of Louisiana and Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly, that's what you got to do. That's the moves you got to make here in recruiting to make sure and secure your border, secure your state, and secure your team. Really.
Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. he commits.
Nice. Reed Wilson, wasn't Jordy and Lloyd, a.k.a. Joe Dirt, crying about losing the in-state talent?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And their new flunky, that bozo talking. Who are they talking about? You talking about you, Stewie?
Is that you, Stewie?
I guess I'm the new flunky.
Welcome to the squad, dude.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, I was.
Actually about to graduate.
Flunky too.
Aren't you about to graduate?
Yeah, I am, but I am a flunky.
Tough.
I'll take it.
But no, I mean, look, this is great news, man. This is great news of starting to.
I don't want credit.
Slowly turn the narrative of in-state recruiting, right? And I don't think by any means it's anything that was said on this show. I think there's always been an initiative to get the state, but like Sam Spiegelman was detailing on Friday when we had him on, is that certain cycles take different times, different moments to start to commit and start to make moves. And for the state of Louisiana this year, you've seen more guys starting to really take their time in recruiting and kind of go through the entire process. I mean, I don't imagine that, like I said, that we'll hear anything from Shelton Sampson over the next couple of days, and maybe even not until the end of the month when he's got a couple of trips scheduled to go down in recruiting. I know that he's got a Texas A&M official that he'll be taking part on at the end of this month. He'll be coming back and forth to LSU during his time when he's down here. And then obviously, there's other schools like Florida State, who we talked about, have done a really good job of keeping themselves kind of relevant and up to speed on Shelton Sampson's recruitment. So it's going to be interesting, man. The next couple of days and weeks will be fun to watch in recruiting. You see the promo code up at the top right of your screen. Walk your phone up to it, open it up, and you will be driven right to the Caesars Sportsbook app. And all you have to do is type in the promo code FM15. That is FM15. If you're looking at a couple of future bets, like some NFL total wins or some college football total wins, all of those up on the board right now and can be played. LSU is over and under 7.5 wins from Caesars Sportsbook. Log on right now with the promo code FM15 if you want a direct line to it. All you got to do is walk your phone up to that top right in the screen, open up the QR code for our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook, use the promo code FM15, and you'll be dialed in. You got to make a deposit into that account, make a bet into that account, and you will get the promo code benefits there by using FM15. FM15 is the promo code to get involved. We'll be back with the second hour here of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Do you suffer from chronic dehydration? Are you looking to improve your athletic performance and you need to get over and see our friends over at GoFlow IV? They're located on Jefferson Highway. Easy to find them online at geauxflowiv.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. If you do, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Check them out online, geauxflowiv.com.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
What else we got? One more voicemail. Hang on 1 second, Jamil. We're coming to you after this
Jamil's just in there
voicemail.
talking, we're all snapping at her. Shut up.
Shut up back there.
I was just calling to find out when the Jordy Culotta Invitational is going down. Don't make it soon because it's too damn hot. I know y'all know that with the lack of AC going on at the joint. And if Rico Delgado's listening, he's a bitch. Send my condolences to Jock. Bye. I was just calling to find.
That's awesome.
Bro,
He
that's
is
the Call
listening.
Hall of Fame. There it is.
That is.
That's the one seed.
That's what we needed.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's what we've been looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't play it long. And you know what? We need to cut that up. Play that last part again. Let me hear that last part. Let me hear that last part. We should be able to cut this part up.
I know y'all know that with the lack of AC going on at the joint. And if Rico Delgado's listening, he's a bitch. Sorry, WAFB.
Sorry, WAFB.
That'll be a fine wherever you are. Whoever you are, where are you calling from?
Spring, Texas.
Okay, I
Send
love
us
it,
a
dude. See, that's
dollar.
what we need. We need to know your name. Southern Eye Center is located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, southerneyecenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha,
Malik Neighbors.
Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
All right, welcome in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, as we will have Greg Brooks, LSU safety, in studio with us, 8:30 this morning. LSU on the weights at 11:30 this morning. We'll ask him about the all-season workout program. We'll also, I don't know if we can ask him specifically about the hashtag Shelton Stays too. I think they have to, like, it's like a coach.
Can they
like
not
you can't talk about a
You could just
recruit.
talk about a hashtag, though. You could be like,
Okay,
something
yeah.
went
You guys had a
viral
specific
last night.
hashtag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what was that about?
He might elaborate.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, though.
No, not at all.
I'm trying to get anybody in
Would
trouble.
you would be early workout group, I'd imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm 6 a.m.
Absolutely.
Get me out of here.
Absolutely.
I
I want my afternoons open.
I was about to say, have you been outside yet today? 11:30 workout.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got that dog in you?
I mean,
Zach
you gotta
Wilson?
find it here. Zach Wilson has that dog. in him,
Zach
for sure.
Wilson's got that dog in him, bro. I was wondering why is Zach Wilson trending all over
super
social
trending.
media? I'm like,
Oh.
what is going on
Click it
with Zach Wilson? But you know what made me finally dive into like real? I'm like, okay, what is going on with Zach Wilson?
Was
Was
it
the
the Tom
meme of
Brady
Tom
meme?
Brady running home after he found out that Giselle was friends with Zach Wilson's mom? And I'm like, what is going on with about Zach Wilson? And come to find out, Zach Wilson and his girlfriend
Allegedly
broke up.
That definitely happened.
They definitely broke
That
up.
breath- that
they
definitely
broke up.
happened.
She
They
definitely
broke
outed him
up.
on social media.
She did. What did she say? What was the term?
She called him a homie hopper.
Yeah, no.
A homie hopper.
So they were called. So people on social. She posted a picture with her and Zach Wilson's former roommate in college over the weekend, who is now a wide receiver for the Washington Commanders. So this is the tie. So she is with the Washington Commanders wide receiver, who turns out to be Zach Wilson's
Best friend
and roommate from college. And I guess he had to be his number one wideout, right? It's not like BYU's like pumping out these pros.
Well,
You know
they're
what
not
I mean?
pumping
Like-
at all, coach. They're soaking with talent.
So from there, she puts on social media that she's obviously hanging out with Zach Wilson's best friend. It looks like they're kind of like tight and together. And people start calling her a homie hopper.
Cougar Slayer.
Which Lloyd and I had never heard the term. Have y'all heard this? A homie
They've
hopper?
never heard of it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like-
All right. I mean,
it's for the young folks.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Oh no,
I mean,
for sure. But I thought it was.
I mean, the
just-
puzzle
it
pieces
was
just come
so-
together,
I mean,
right?
It's
I
not
mean-
the first time she said that. She just dropped the homie hopper, and I was like, wait, oh.
So she responds to be called.
That's perfect.
So she responds to being called a homie hopper by outing Zach Wilson, and I think she thought she was going to out him,
Oh, this is the video.
but but all she did was add to the legend of Zach Wilson when
made him look
she confirmed, or at least put out on social media, that she's not the homie hopper. The reason why they busted up is because Zach Wilson slept with his mom's best friend.
Brunch
If
must have been
anybody's
electric.
seen
Bottom-
Wilson's mom,
Bottomless mimosas.
she don't look like she's running in a pack of fours.
No.
You know what I mean?
Hot
Like,
attracts hot.
She is. I mean,
This is the crew.
is that
which
his
one is
mom's
she?
I think
crew?
they said the one on the far left is the one.
Okay, and if I was choosing out of the crew, she would probably be the one that I chose because she looks the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
Either her or two over from her in the black shirt.
Right here.
And with the jeans, that's who I thought it was going to be too.
That's who I. That's the two that I thought it was going to be. So we've
Such a
been.
fun night with these beauties, Kesha and Macklemore. That's 2018, coach. We got 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow. He's still a freshman at this point, right? I mean,
Oh.
he's young.
Making moves.
Yeah, right.
What a guy.
I mean, that still plays in the locker room, right? Like it's cooler
Are
to
you
bag
kidding?
it's cooler to bag a MILF than to bang
Are
like
you
a girl
kidding?
your age.
Absolutely.
He's the man in the locker room today. Like
Absolutely.
he's walking into off-season workouts today. Like,
Yeah,
what's up,
right.
fellas?
Yeah.
He wasn't even the starter last week, but
is he?
What's
Like
up?
there are reports that like he was like telling the media outlet like take that down.
Yeah.
Well,
he
take
did.
Take that down.
I heard that too, but you would imagine that he was in bed next to her and she doesn't really get how social media is, and she's like, "Hey, we don't want that out there." He's like, "Yeah, we do. Here,
Here, I'll handle it.
Yeah, I got it.
Right.
Promote it more.
Retweet.
Yeah." Take it down. Keep it up.
Burner account.
Yeah. I mean, if you're running around with how old is Zach Wilson? 22.
He can't be 22.
He's like 21.
He can't be 22.
I mean, they're both at different ends of the spectrum, but she's
Right.
got to realize, like, oh shit, I'm
Well,
in a whole new league.
problem for her if she's married. And this is coming out.
That's true.
That's going to be a huge issue.
Doubt it.
But I would doubt it.
twice.
That pack didn't look like they were flaunting any diamonds.
If you're going to catch
of their own.
2018
You know
and
what I
you're
mean?
40 years old, you're hunting.
But Zach Wilson, whole new light on this show, at least. A whole new type of respect.
I mean, I love the guy.
Me too.
I want to shake your hand.
I want to shake your hand.
Zachary, sit down. Tell us all about it.
Sit down in that chair right there. Let us know.
A Mormon.
I know.
Right.
He's former, yeah.
That may be why he's not 21 or 22 because he had to take.
Yeah, I
that,
didn't know if he took the mission.
Did he? I mean, he looks 17.
Yeah.
He looks like a baby.
I mean, he looked scared at the draft whenever everybody was throwing up their signs. He's like,
Never,
Mom.
Yep, Mom's friend.
Have you heard of the Church of Latter-day Saints?
I'm here to give you a pamphlet.
Anybody watching Summer League basketball? Did you see Dyson Daniels got hurt for the Pelicans second quarter? That's his name, right? Dyson Daniels?
Is that the
Where's
new
Noah?
pick?
The rookie, number 8 pick.
How hurt?
Ankle.
I saw Jaden Ivey go down with an ankle too.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was actually watching it live.
But it looks like Dyson Daniels is going to be okay. The X-rays were negative on Daniels' ankle. Got banged up in the second quarter. 1 point, 1 rebound, 2 assists. If you want any positive takeaways from watching Dyson Daniels or Dyson Daniels being in the lineup during Summer League basketball, was that he guarded all 5 positions while he was out there. And that was one of the things that we talked about building up to Summer League after the draft was that, look, you're not getting an offensive talent. You're not getting a guy that's going to guarantee scoring you 25 a night. His three-point shot looked pretty good. I think that I saw they tweeted out that he made 27 straight threes in warm-ups, and then he clanged 3 of them in his first.
Oof.
You know what I mean? It's different in warm-ups. You know, I mean, even in a Summer League game, where I saw the stat, like 72% of Summer League participants will never make an NBA roster. So it's different basketball, right? I mean, it's probably a glorified college scrimmage. You know what I mean? Like maybe like an upper level college scrimmage.
But isn't it notoriously that the teams that don't play well in Summer League are usually pretty good? Because you're not putting you got guys. You don't
think
need
think about the highs that you've taken away from the Pelicans in Summer League before.
Right, they've already done it.
What was it, 3 years ago where Zion just bullied? Who was that he just
Didn't they win Summer
bowed
League
to the
championship?
ground?
Mm-hmm.
He just
But
threw
that's what I'm saying. They've already done
the kid from Kentucky. He like threw him on the ground.
He like snatched the ball.
He
from
snatched
him.
the ball away from him and like put him on the ground. And I mean, I was like, Pels are coming. They're winning a championship.
NBA Finals for the Pels this year.
Well, but you might not be. But that's what I'm saying. You go through those growing pains with.
Yeah.
If you're going to build a young catalyst, you see it in Summer League, and then when you get good, like you don't have to put any of those guys out there anymore.
For sure. Absolutely.
So now you just have they're fighting for roster spots.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like I need to develop and grow this talent. Like you're not putting Herb Jones out there. You don't need to.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Alvarado's not even out there.
Right, and he was like they showed. I think it was Locked On Pelicans that like put a tweet out of Alvarado in his first Summer League when he did the back pick.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so you could see where the maturation of his team is coming from. If you're not good in Summer League, I think that's kind of a good sign.
And then the other story about Summer League, and be monitoring Wilson Alexander. We're waiting on Wilson to join us from the Advocate, as he will join us. He will join us to talk about his piece on Will Campbell over the weekend. If you hadn't read it, it was a fantastic in-depth look at LSU's offensive lineman Adam Neville.
Did he talk about dogs?
Huh?
Did he talk about dogs?
Man, don't worry about dogs.
That dude is he's an ass kicker.
He's gonna have to
grown man child.
He's gonna have to look after Zion for the SEC media days. If Jack Besh is going, I'd imagine Will Campbell gets the dog.
Yeah.
So did they cut the thing from 3 to 2? No?
Yeah, they did that during COVID.
I was gonna say, yeah.
They're just gonna keep it.
But I'd imagine that's something that they're carrying over, which is a week from today. By the way, the start of SEC Media Days is 1 week from today. Reed Nelson, thank you very much. Kevin Knox was the player that Zion just abused in Summer League.
Then Net? No, Nick. Didn't Kevin Knox get drafted by the Knicks like pretty early? 3-point
Was
shooter.
it the Knicks?
Yeah.
Knicks. Yes, indeed. All right, so we're going to talk to Wilson Alexander coming up here shortly. And then we're going to talk to Greg Brooks, who will be in studio with us at 8:30 this morning. We will reset and be right back with you here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
How old is Kirby Smart?
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
Do you suffer from chronic dehydration? Are you looking to improve your athletic performance and you need to get over and see our friends over at GoFlow IV? They're located on Jefferson Highway. Easy to find them online at GEAUXFlowIV.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. If you do, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Check them out online, GEAUXFlowIV.com. Southern Eye Center is located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, southerneyecenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. Inspiration, man.
Appreciate
I cannot wait to watch your group play. And the reason we said this to the public, we wanted to get you on, is because everybody that's come through here, recruit, player in the locker room, coaches, have mentioned your name of making an impact on their time or their decision to be at LSU. So keep doing it right, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Like I said, you give our guys a platform. They come in talking about the show, so
Yeah.
this is awesome. Nice setup too. I might steal one of these couches.
Yeah, you got it, bro. You got it. We got a lot of gear for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
LSU cornerbacks coach Robert Steeple's in with us for that was great conversation.
This show in particular, highlighting the players that I've seen come through here, and the coaches, we're grateful to have the opportunity. This show in particular, highlighting the players that I've seen come through here, and the coaches, we're grateful to have the opportunity.
But I ended up at a lunch yesterday with 3 suits from WAFB.
In the Jays.
In the Jays, in the hat, in the T-shirt. I thought I was going to meet one suit, and we actually showed up to the same restaurant that 2 other suits were eating at. We all conjoined table and had an executive lunch with everybody from WAFB. A lot of good return on the show early on. A lot of good feedback. They think we ought to start fining for cursing in the first hour.
Fining who?
Fining for whoever does it.
Like fining each other?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have a swear jar?
A swear jar.
Okay.
Tough.
7 a.m. between the 7 and 8 a.m. hour.
It's Lloyd that would
That's
have
exactly
the
what they
problem.
said.
So
That's exactly what they said. The suit said. He said, Lloyd pushes the envelope on the cussing thing we've talked about. Hey, how's the show? We're all kind of like passing the bread, you know what I mean? Like early, like I'm just trying to like fit in at this table. They're like, oh yeah, the show's good. What's the guy in on the couch? What's Lloyd?
mullet?
Is
The
it
mullet
Lloyd?
guy?
Yeah, Lloyd. What about him? He sure does push the line on the cussing thing, doesn't he? Which, by the way, there's no rules to our contract at WAFB that states that, we can't cuss at a certain time or, we've got to change the show at any point. There's been no discussions of changing anything that we do from WAFB. That's all right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet. Remember to hit that like button, share button, comment button. Just got a text from Greg Brooks. We're actually going to have to move Brooks from this morning to, looks like tomorrow morning. He has an exam that was rescheduled on him this morning that he's going to have to get to. Sounds like it.
If there's a nightmare that I could probably have, like that it would be that. Like me standing in line, other people smoking cigarettes all around me, and you're just like, I'm not ready at all for this accounting test, dude. Fuck.
Everybody's on speed.
Yeah, dude, just
everybody's
pupils
are dilated.
Bro, if you want to make a
chewing their fingernails, smoking cigarettes, eyes are bugged out.
It's like, I'm the only one sober right here.
Yeah, fuck. Imagine not being on Adderall and being in that line,
right?
Yeah.
I'm the guy.
If you want to make a quick buck, show up there without
nobody
a test.
who ever stressed test because he was always ready to go. He was always studied up. Our guy Wilson Alexander, always doing the preparation.
I bet so.
Always doing the right thing with hair that perfect and a writing style that good. My man dove in deep to the story of Will Campbell over the weekend. It was a great Sunday read for you in your Advocate. If you have not picked it up, you can still read the online edition at theadvocate.com. But if you picked up the Sunday edition, you saw the in-depth look to Will Campbell, written by our boy Wilson Alexander. Wilson, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I wish I could say I was always ready for an exam, but there was definitely a few all-nighters along the way.
Listen, yeah, it's part of the crew.
Yeah, when you start making the periods a little bit bigger to make sure you get to 4 pages.
Mr. Alexander, what's going on with you? Did you stay out late last night?
I was a little heavy.
Yeah, right. Wilson, what did you learn about Will Campbell? He seemed to be the story of spring football. Everybody has been gushing about the 5-star offensive tackle from Neville. What did you learn about him in the latest piece that you wrote and was published on Sunday in The Advocate?
I learned quite a bit. It was a pleasure to get to go up and spend a couple hours with his family. They were nice enough to let me into their home. Really kind people, welcoming people. His dad, I didn't make it into the story, but his dad grows tomatoes in the backyard, and they offered me some. They made a great tomato sandwich. He just sort of, kind of like down to earth in a lot of ways. It seemed like sort of your classic kind of upbringing where they were in Monroe, what his parents were able to provide for him, but instilled in him a lot of qualities that have sort of turned him into this great offensive tackle where hard work, respect, but he's got this kind of nasty streak that comes out on the field, and he's obviously uber talented in terms of his skill set because of his feet, and there's just a lot of factors that combine to make him such a quality offensive tackle already.
Tell me about Bull. Tell me about his dad.
How many beers?
I mean, what is this guy like?
He is a hoot, man. I mean, he says whatever is on his mind. He does not have much of a filter. He doesn't care to have much of a filter at all. There were some really funny moments with him, times when his wife Holly, who is really sweet and much more reserved, was like Well, please don't say that. And
that's off the record.
Around him, but Bull, he his Bull is kind of like Bull in a china shop, and he'd be like, okay, but he doesn't care. He says what he's thinking, and he's also really tall, but kind of the kind of person who would give his shirt off his back to you, sort of guy as well. Hard worker. I mean, he sells seed and chemical and fertilizer. He's got his own personal farm. And he was an offensive lineman back in the day too, played at a small Texas college. So he's loves football and has sort of nudged his sons toward that. Though it didn't take much, they wanted to play.
Do you get an idea where his mentality comes from? Because I think that's the difference between Will Campbell and a lot of people. Everybody looks at him and thinks his size is the difference. But there's been a lot of big guys that have come out of North Louisiana that have played at LSU, and the mentality on Campbell seems to be the outlier. Where did that come from?
It's a few things. It's his upbringing. Again, Neville's strength coach and head coach both said that you got to look at his parents when you talk about Will, because they think that he was raised right, and that was part of it. His dad, they didn't put up with a whole lot of complaining. You got to do the work, and that's part of it. The other part of it would be probably playing early at Neville. He was in the lineup by the third game of his freshman year with a program that is competitive and has been successful. And being in that spot, he had to learn that mentality from an early age and maintain it. And, he was and part of it's just natural. He's in the locker room when that music gets too loud and people get too sort of rowdy before a game, like as if they aren't focused. He's the one who's going to stand up and, he doesn't maybe say a ton, but he's going to say, turn off that music and, maybe with a few other words thrown in there, and let's focus. He likes to sort of stare straight ahead with his eye back on. And his brother, who was a freshman last year when Will was a senior and played with him for a year, said it's really intimidating being around him because he wants to win so badly. He really hates losing football, makes him emotional, and he's just incredibly focused, and he doesn't put up with any BS around him.
I thought that the highest compliment that I heard on Campbell during spring session while he was here was that Mike Denbrock sat in our studio and said he made everybody raise their game. Like when they saw him, whether it was working out, whether it was sticking to the nutrition, or whether it was on the field, he made everybody around him show up with a purpose, whether it was a youngster or whether it was a veteran guy. What did the family take away from his 15 practice experience down at LSU already? What did they maybe learn about him, or what did they now have expectations for him now that he's proven he can play at that level?
Well, they saw that he was able to keep up and that he also didn't seem intimidated or overwhelmed by the stage at all. And that was, what Brian Kelly sort of pointed to midway through spring practice when he said, early on in spring practice, he was asked about the freshman. He pointed out Will specifically because of physically he was so good already. But that was about 2 weeks in when he noticed that mentally he was so advanced for his age because, he was going up against B.J. Ojolari and Ali Gay and these guys who are probably some of the best players on LSU's team. And, he might get beat here and there because he was a true freshman who most kids his age are playing, their last high school seasons and going to prom and all that kind of stuff. And he was able to respond to it so well. His dad, it was kind of funny, he asked about Bull earlier. He said he would try to be like moving his feet. They only got to go to one practice, but when they were out there and Will's trying to block BJ and all these guys, he's moving his feet right along with his son on the sideline, trying to, almost help him some way from the sideline. But they think he's not overwhelmed by any of this. It doesn't seem to faze him.
Would he have gone anywhere else but LSU? Was there ever a school that threatened LSU for Will Campbell?
Oklahoma threatened. His dad said there was a chance, albeit slim chance, that Oklahoma would have been able to pull him out of the state. But that was before he made his commitment back in 2021, January 30th, 2021. And once he made his commitment, it was never going to change.
Yeah.
Even with all the coaching changes that LSU went through.
Ross Dellinger brought us in the living room to Brian Kelly's first meeting with Bull and where they were drinking beer and talking football and kind of giving Kelly the lay of the land. What did you learn from Bull and Campbell's side on that meeting when Kelly came through?
Well, I learned which pot he used to make etouffee for Brian Kelly. He was very proud of that. I unfortunately can't pronounce it. Starts with an M. But they liked Brian Kelly. They thought that he was pretty easy to talk to. They're the kind of family where I think they can sort of see if you're full of it, and they didn't get that impression with him. They had him in the house, for an hour, maybe a little bit over that, just talking, and they liked what they heard. They liked the plan he had and the message that he was sharing, and they're like, all right, let's go. They enjoyed having him around.
How long have they known that Campbell feels almost as close to a guaranteed prospect? I hate to put that label on any type of football player because you got to go out there and play the game, but he looks as safe as a bet as there is as somebody to play at the highest level at a very high level. How long have they known this about him?
They being who?
The parents, just the people around Campbell.
Yeah, his parents. They didn't necessarily say exactly how long they could tell. It was somewhere in high school where, but it was early on in high school, I should say. They had people around them telling them that he was going to be highly recruited and have a chance to play at the next level. They aren't quite thinking about NFL yet or anything because he's just now gotten here to LSU. They're trying to sort of enjoy what they've got right in front of them. But it was really early on in his freshman year when Eric Herndon, the strength coach, went up to Holly and said, "Get ready, he's fixing to be highly sought after." And sure enough, the recruiting mail started coming. And it was, and then the summer after his freshman year, kind of going into his sophomore year, he struggled at an LSU camp, the first one he went to, but then he came back. He really held his own, played much better. That LSU offered, and then everything started just, steamrolling, or snowballing, I should say. And they have been prepared for this because there's been a lot of, yeah, exactly. There's been a lot of talented players that come out of Neville and out of that area. Obviously, they are aware of Andrew Whitworth, although Will has never met him yet. Wow. But even Rashard Lawrence on LSU's 2019 team, he went to Neville. And so they have some reference points that the coaches are able to tell them, like, look, your son's really good. And Bull knew some of this to an extent too, because he has a football background, played himself. He could tell that his son was pretty talented.
Wilson Alexander has a great piece up right now on Will Campbell. If you have not read it, get over to theadvocate.com and read the latest. If you have Sunday's edition laying around the kitchen and you hadn't read it yet, it was a great read in the Sunday Advocate. Is there an expectation that you get on Will himself now that he has gone through spring? I mean, I'd imagine he's starting play one versus Florida State, right, Wilson?
That's the expectation. Something would have to happen for him not to be in that starting lineup come Florida State. Talked to some sources of the program who would say that they think he might be the best offensive lineman they've coached. So he's probably going to be in there. But Will, again, he just sort of, he's been used to this. There is almost like a little bit of a parallel to his high school career where he came in as a freshman and he was starting almost right away at Neville. He seems to be coming into LSU and starting almost right away. So he's gone up against, he's played in a lot of big games, and it feels like the norm to him. He doesn't really worry about it. He had a conversation with his dad recently, and his dad pointed out to him that, hey, because you're going to be a true freshman left tackle, everybody's going to probably put their best edge rusher on your side. Guys like Will Anderson are going to be going up against you in that Alabama game. And Will said, that's fine. The guy on the other side's good too. It doesn't really matter. This doesn't seem to affect him too much. It's going to be interesting to see how he responds, because there'll be plays that he gets beat. As a true freshman, It's going to happen. There'll be times he gets beat as a senior. It's football. But because he's able to respond to that so well, he'll probably still be able to be successful.
1 week from now, Wilson, we will be gearing up at the College Football Hall of Fame to be getting ready to hear from Greg Sankey, and then Brian Kelly will get things kicked off at Media Day as the first school and first team featured. A couple of questions here on Media Day. Who do you anticipate LSU brings, and what do you anticipate the storyline around Brian Kelly to be?
The Brains question is interesting. I could see them going with like a Mike Jones, maybe BJ Ojolari. His hometown. He's from Marietta, just north of Atlanta. And they're kind of anticipating a breakout year for him. That would be maybe an interesting pick. Offensively, absolutely no clue. We can't bring Liam Shanahan anymore. Yeah, or like Austin Deculus, or there's not really an offensive lineman who would be like a clear choice, and you're probably not going to bring one of the quarterbacks, although they really trust Miles. At least somebody from that defensive side, like a Mike or BJ, someone like that. I don't know who they would bring offensively. Maybe Kayshawn. Who knows?
You think they would bring Besh? You think they would bring Besh?
I'd be surprised if they brought Besh, but I mean, I could see it.
He's got that dog.
He does have that dog in him. I don't know if they'd bring Besh. Being a sophomore, they'd probably go with someone with a little bit more seniority.
Yeah.
To represent them at media day. Maybe Dre Jenkins. Wide receiver. He's been steady throughout his career. I could see that. But the storyline about Brian Kelly, just how he's going to handle year one, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, how many times do you think he'll be asked about accent dancing and all the stuff that we've heard about down here? What are you curious to learn about Brian Kelly at this point in the process? Is there anything that you are wondering about where his program is outside the stuff that we've learned?
Well, I'm not interested to learn anything more about his accent or his dancing skills because, that was a while ago and didn't seem like that big of a deal at the time anyway. I'm not exactly sure at this point because we have sort of learned a lot during the spring, and there's been this sort of holding pattern until recently. But I would probably be interested at this point, just because of what's happened recently, to learn sort of how they approach recruiting on a national versus local approach, what they kind of want that to look like in the years ahead. This year, it seemed kind of, wasn't too much of a surprise to some extent that they were going to be a little bit more national, but, what that looks like moving forward, I'd be interested to ask about that. And then any sort of scheme questions, try to find out more about what this offense in particular would look like. Obviously, we all want to know who's going to be the starting quarterback, but they're not going to have the answer at media day anyway. But maybe some more questions along those, maybe trying to dig into how they would choose a quarterback, things like that heading into preseason practice.
But you talked a little bit about Brian Kelly. Is there anybody more thankful, because he was probably going to be the headliner going into SEC Media Days, but now after, I know it feels like a while ago, but this will all get rekindled with the Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban. Is there anybody more thankful that that's probably going to be the headliner as opposed to Brian Kelly?
He might be thankful. It feels like that was so long ago. Also, we've had all this realignment stuff happen that it was almost like that's not even going to be the head storyline heading into media day. It's going to be more like how conference realignment's happening again. But there's so much to cover. While we're there, I mean, from the NIL with Jimbo and all that, there's a ton of transfer quarterbacks. It's pretty interesting in the SEC this year, or guys who have transferred during their career. And then conference realignment, how that might now affect, what happened with USC and UCLA, how that might affect the SEC and just sort of the future of the sport. It's going to be plenty to talk about over those 4 days. There always is.
Wilson, last year at this event is where the news broke of Texas and Oklahoma joining the league. You mentioned that the storyline of USC and UCLA bailing on the Pac-12 and joining the Big Ten will obviously be a storyline that's talked about. Do you anticipate anything popping this year? I mean, obviously with Greg Sankey's usual State of the Union, there is always some type of message or some type of news that he is pushing. Obviously the unforeseen stuff we can't talk about, but is there anything that you anticipate him addressing when he opens up the event?
I'd be surprised if he didn't sort of address conference realignment and the future of the sport a little bit. He's a thoughtful, insightful man, very well read as a commissioner. You see him on Twitter. It's mostly what he posts about is what he's been reading. And he gets a lot of sort of ideas and approaches from that. And so I'd imagine there'd be a reference to a book here or there in his opening remarks and sort of talking about the future of the sport, where it's headed with this conference realignment. Sankey is he never usually steps, puts his foot in his mouth at any point. But there'll probably be, at least maybe subtly, some sort of reveal how he feels about the whole thing in those opening remarks. I'd imagine it, that being sort of the hot button issue, I'd imagine there'd be quite a lot of that. And of course, touting everything that they've done in the SEC as well, which has been a stable and growing conference in the midst of all this change.
Wilson Alexander, it is great to see you on this Monday, man. We'll see you next Monday in Atlanta. We appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
Great write-up on Campbell, bro. There he is, Wilson Alexander. Make sure and follow him on Twitter at @WHAlexander_ is where you can find him there. If you have not read the piece on Will Campbell, it's a great read. It's a must-read on LSU's incoming freshman. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, online, CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix Concrete today if you've got a job around the area. If there's no job, no project, too big, too small, whether it's a residential refill that you're looking for in a driveway or if you're looking to pour a slab for a new house and a custom build that you're designing, Cajun Ready Mix Concrete can help you out with all that custom work. Also, your commercial work, municipal work. They've got experience in all of that. Check them out online. CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com is where you find them online. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Proud supporter here of the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be back and wrap it up when we come back here. Driven and powered every day by Go Chevrolet.
Wrap it up.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team. Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
Southern Eye Center is located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, southerneyecenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. We talked about LSU's big gets over the last couple of days in recruiting. It doesn't look like it's going to stop, as LSU will be getting, it looks like, is trending towards the commitment tomorrow from the big running back out of
Caleb
Liberty.
Jackson.
Caleb
Gets you every
Jackson.
time.
Every time. Caleb Jackson. I want to call him the guy from Zachary.
Kylan Jackson.
Kylan Jackson.
Oh no! Now it's in your head.
Now I get those two confused.
What else? Oh, Ace Wolf, Ace Miller,
Wolf, Adam Miller, Adam.
These
Wolf,
happen. You know,
Miller,
you're talking to a microphone all day, every day. Something's gonna get you.
But LSU recruiting football cleaning up right now. So if you have not heard the latest, LSU was able to pick up commitments from Whit Weeks, who is a three-star linebacker. His brother, Weston Weeks, transferred in from Virginia earlier this year. Jaylen Brown, who became the highest-rated commitment to LSU's class, pledged on Friday as the five-star wideout out of Miami, was the latest to pledge his commitment to Cortez Hankton and the offensive staff. That's a huge get for LSU, enormous get. I don't know if we can really signify how big that is. Greg Brooks, the standout LSU defensive back from Harvey from New Orleans, Louisiana, is set to come back in tomorrow morning. We had him scheduled for 8:30, but just wasn't able to work
Testing
out
center.
with some things going on with academics over there. The hashtag Shelton Stays has been trending for LSU. It seems like talking about Shelton Sampson. We talked a little bit about that today at the beginning of the show, where Shelton Stays, the hashtag, is really populated around LSU football, and Shelton Sampson, the five-star wide receiver out of Catholic High, has been really seeing LSU's recruitment really pick up for him over the last couple of weeks and months, and seems like LSU has made their way to at least being a true option and a true choice for Sampson here. Some of the information that I got at the beginning of the show, I don't know if you should anticipate any news from Sampson coming over the next couple of days. I think there's some trips that are still in line that Sampson and crew want to take, like a trip to Texas A&M at the end of the summer, before ultimately making a decision and making it official. So while it feels like Shelton Sampson and LSU are trending towards one another, I don't know if you'll hear the information become official, or wherever Sampson decides he is going to go. I don't know if you'll hear about that for a couple of more weeks, or maybe even longer than that, going into the early signing period, which isn't until December here of 2022. So huge news for LSU on the recruiting trail, though. 8 commitments in the last 9 days. Obviously, the big flurry of defensive linemen over the holiday weekend stood out, but Jaylen Brown, the five-star wide receiver, really put the cherry on top of the last couple of days for LSU, as he is a big-time playmaking wide receiver coming out of a city and a school now in the University of Miami that is openly changing their tactics in recruiting and going all in on NIL. John Ruiz, who is a local business billionaire man down in South Beach, down in Florida, has a true dying passion for the University of Miami and its athletic program, specifically its football program, and has pledged a really an open NIL deal to getting stuff done for the university and for the program. So to go down into that part of the world and beat out Miami for a recruit in Miami's backyard is big news. Now, Brown's not on campus. He hadn't put on an LSU helmet. He hadn't played a down for the Tigers yet. You still got to win and close the deal, and it'll be tough because of the time left in this recruitment, obviously, and you know the caliber of player that Jaylen Brown is. We've seen this happen before. This is no different than Landon Collins being at Dutchtown. This is no different than Tim Williams and Dylan Moses being at University High, long after they pledged and committed to another school. And LSU continued to put the heat on, continued to bring them on campus, and continued to put them in the facility unofficially. And when it got down to it, they signed They signed with Alabama. They signed with other schools. So it can be done. It's a hell of a road to be able to fend off a hometown school like Miami that's going to keep the pressure up on Brown, really for the next 6 months. So LSU has got their work cut out for him, but it's a hell of a start to get the commitment from a guy like Jaylen Brown and to go into Miami and get a guy like that says and tells you everything you really need to know from a recruiting standpoint on where LSU stands. So,
you don't think that he's using this as like a bargaining chip against Miami for NIL?
Could. Hey, man, he could be.
It's like 4D chess.
In the 2022 edition of college football recruiting, I think you've got to account for everything. And I think being used as leverage and being used as a bargaining chip has to be in your thought process in today's world. Is that's a possibility. But one thing that I have gotten back on Jaylen Brown is that it seems like he has handled this very almost professional since the start of it. Him and his family have come in with a clear-cut plan. They have, really talked in detailed things that they are looking for in their college. And whether it was Brian Kelly while he was at Notre Dame or whether it was the staff while they've been down here in Baton Rouge, they have really impressed Brown, his mom, and his family on their approach. And I think that goes a long way. I don't think that they're just at the end going to say, hey, all that stuff that we told you mattered doesn't really matter. We're going here. So, I think that they feel secure on where they are. And if anything was going to change, that the lines of communication seem to be very open between Cortez Hankton, the Jaylen Brown camp, whoever it may be, the coach, the mom, the player, and they feel like they are, sitting in a really good spot. They also know that it's going to be a hell of a ride for the next couple of months. That you're going to have to recruit him, as hard as you've been recruiting him, maybe even a little bit more intense because of the commitment, right? Usually the commitment brings a certain attention to a player that, for a school like Miami, now you know where you stand. Right? Like now you've got a little bit of work to do to catch up to get him to start paying attention. And even in Jaylen Brown's commitment, he said it was tough leaving Miami, growing up watching that school play, but LSU felt like home. Relationships were really secure. I mean, he still leaves a little bit of it not open, but,
it's not totally shut.
Yeah, it's just a little crack in the sense of, hey, I've watched Miami my whole life. It was tough leaving home. Well, you still got a football season and 5 months to watch them play.
And from the NIL side of things, don't you think it's kind of the Gordon McKernan theory where they have a McKernan, they have a Gordon with Ruiz, and if he sees a 5-star leave Miami, goes to LSU, he's like, hold on. Let me open up the checkbook. What do I have to do? Like now we're getting into the recruiting part of it where it's like, all right, what did they offer? I'll double it.
Exactly.
I'll double it again.
I mean, look, man.
Because you don't want to lose hometown kids.
Ruiz is throwing around $800,000 for basketball players. You know what I mean? Guys that are like established. Austin, the kid from Kansas State that transferred down to Miami, that really, spurred a storyline for NIL and for college football recruiting and college basketball recruiting. That was something that a lot of people were paying attention to. If he's throwing around $800K for a basketball transfer, who's to say what he might do for a 5-star in-state, in-town kid who, has kind of said, I've been watching Miami play my whole life.
Yeah, it's a kind of an open, it's an open call. Like this is called. You saw the ruckus that it caused amongst Miami and with LSU. I'd imagine it got his antenna up a little bit.
Sure. Oh, no doubt about it. Remember the QR code. You see it there in the top right, the FM15 QR code, compliments of our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook. Go ahead and open up that code. Use the promo code FM15. That is the letter F, the letter M, 15 for the promo code. We've been betting a lot of futures as far as NFL and college football is concerned, whether it's total wins, projection on outcomes and finishes, whether it be conference winners or when NFL's standpoint. Again, a lot of over-under on numbers of wins and plays. All of that open to you right now over at Caesars Sportsbook. All you got to do is open up that QR code that you see in the top right of the screen. It'll take you to Caesar Sportsbook. Make sure and type in the promotional code FM15, FM15 if you are if you can. That'll obviously, they're giving you money to bet money over at Caesar Sportsbook right now. With that, it is. I mean, it's free up to $1,500 risk free in bets when you use the promo code FM15. And as we said, that we have a great giveaway. Compliments of our friends over at Caesars for the LSU Florida State game that we can't wait to tell you about. Jerry Rivera says, move on from Brown. He is going to LSU. Y'all are being negative and making up scenarios about Brown.
Recruiting ain't over till he signs the paper.
What part did we make up, Jerry? Have you ever followed recruiting on any prospect before? I mean, when they recruit, when they commit
5 for
6
5.
months out of signing day, by no means does that mean the recruitment's over. That's all that we're detailing. Huge get for LSU. Huge get for LSU. Just now, really, the work starts.
Yeah, keeping them. That's the hardest part. Any thought of LSU losing out on Dante Moore going to Oregon and who they would get for a quarterback in this class?
I still think it's Ricky Collins.
I do too.
I still think it's Ricky Collins. I think that they're mashing the gas down on Collins. They have been. I think they knew about the Dante Moore stuff a couple of weeks ago. I don't think that was shocking news to them on Friday when he put on the Oregon hat. I think they had, they were all in on Moore when they were all in on Moore. And when they realized that Moore wasn't all in on LSU, they started to just move down the list on to the next quarterback. And I think that Ricky Collins is not necessarily, the guy that's, down the list. I think that they've always been recruiting Collins. I think that they have always tried to make their way back into the fold with him and get into the conversation. And I don't know whether Collins is playing a little gamesmanship with LSU by saying that he's always been a Boilermaker and he's all Boilermaker, he's all Purdue.
Nobody's all Purdue.
And trying to kick the dust up around his recruitment. But when you talk to people over at LSU, they love Ricky Collins. They're all in on Ricky Collins. They're recruiting Ricky Collins at a high level. They love the way he performed at the Elite 11 a couple of weeks back. And I think that LSU is really intently trying to put him in the class. I mean, I really do.
Another one where the mom comes into play.
Yeah,
big
absolutely. Time. Big mom champion here is who you got to win out on. I've been saying that Ricky Collins is the guy for a while now. I truly believe that Collins is the dude for LSU as things start to trend towards signing day and as recruitment starts. So especially at the quarterback position, Collins got his spot. He got his school. You see people do that in recruiting where, they'll just nab their position. They'll just commit. Walker Howard was committed to LSU for 2 years almost. He got his spot. He was a top Elite 11 quarterback. He knew where he wanted to go. He pledged his commitment there, and he just kind of rode with it for a while. So it'll be interesting. Graham Kelly says, with all the quarterbacks besides Collins already committed and given quarterback room, we, LSU, already have for the foreseeable future. Should LSU stop pushing quarterbacks this year and put more effort into other guys? I think you take a quarterback a year. I think you always take a quarterback. Just look at the nature of the position. You could lose – LSU legitimately could lose 2 guys before you start the season. I mean, it wouldn't shock you, right, if they lost definitely 1 after the decision is made on who's going to be the starter, right? So to me, you can't have enough guys in that room that are competing and battling. Forget just the transfer stuff as well. I mean, you got to talk about what happens on one snap when you lose a guy. I know in a perfect scenario, LSU would like to prohibit Walker Howard from playing any meaningful snaps. But the fact of the matter is that Walker Howard's 2 snaps away from playing. And in the SEC, that's not it's not a pipe dream to think about that you could lose multiple guys at one position. So it's very rare you go through a season like 19 LSU did where, your quarterback plays nearly every snap and is physically, he took some shots. Talking about Burrow. Rare do you see you go, finish line to or start line to finish line with your guy intact, taking every meaningful snap. mean, that position is always going to have a sense of insurance to it. You always have to have a sense of, hey, you got your guy, but if he goes down, are you prepared there? And LSU's sitting in a really good spot right now. I mean, as Denbrock said, feels like he's got the most talented, or at least the deepest quarterback room in the conference, maybe in the country. You can lose that overnight, especially in today's college football world, right? Where somebody gets a feeling, somebody gets a thought, somebody, feels like they're outside of the competition looking in, or another school gets in touch with you, which is happening, right? I mean, don't think that coaches aren't saying, hey, who's got the best quarterback room in the country right now? LSU's up there. Why? Well, they got 2 guys that can play outside of the starter that they're going to name. They got 3 legitimate quarterbacks that you can win games with at a high level. Okay, somebody's going to lose out on that job. Make sure we're in contact with all of those guys so when the time is right, they know that we're an option. I mean, that's happening. LSU's probably doing that to people that they need at other positions. I guarantee you there's DBs and offensive linemen out there thinking in the back of their head, I know I can go to LSU and play. Just like one of these quarterbacks that's on LSU's campus is probably thinking, I know I can go to X and play if I don't win it out here. So, I don't think that you can ever have enough quarterbacks in the stall, in the room to compete with, because on any given practice day, you may piss one of them off now in today's college football world and they may transfer, or you're a snap away from, one of them cracking an ankle or blowing an ACL. I mean, you never know. So I would take one quarterback per year and just live with the outcome. If he transfers, he transfers. If he plays, he plays. But at least you've got the numbers in the position. What LSU has been caught in so many times, and I mean, LSU was a cautionary tale, and still to a degree probably is in college football, on how it is clear to mismanage the quarterback position. LSU was the poster child for that school. And we've talked about it so many times. I know if you've listened to this show, you get it. But, I mean, how many times has LSU looked at an incoming freshman or a very young player at that position and said, hey, win us games. We've got to have you to win big-time games. And the effect that has on the program, not just the player, not just the position, but the overall program. You can have 5 stars at every single position on the field. If you don't have it figured out at quarterback, you'll go 8-4. And that's just how it is. And for the longest time, LSU had 5 stars everywhere, but they had Andrew Hatch and Anthony Jennings taking the snaps. And no disrespect on those guys, but they weren't ready to play at that level. They couldn't play alongside the talent that was playing next to them. And those are only 2 names of a list of guys that have been inside of that position for LSU on just not ready to play. Brandon Harris wasn't ready to play. Jarrett Lee wasn't ready to play. Hell, I could make the argument that Jordan Jefferson wasn't ready to play. I mean, nobody has ever been from a cycle standpoint. To me, that's why you've got such a great position and such a great opportunity with Walker Howard to manage this guy the right way. So the first time he takes a meaningful snap, mentally, he's all good. He's not broken. He's not, his confidence isn't shattered. He's on a playing line, a trajectory of where, hey, once you're ready to take a meaningful snap, and I still think he plays some snaps here in his freshman season, but nothing meaningful, right? I mean, throw him up when you're up 3 scores against Southern for the second half and let him get a couple of reps. Throw him in on the road, whether you're getting blown out or you're up on somebody, and give him an opportunity to see what it's like. Let him play in a league game where the situation helps itself or finds itself. Let him play in a non-league game that, you give him an opportunity to play extended action. But you don't burn the red shirt. You give him an opportunity to get into the offseason with some confidence. And then you put him into the competition and you say, hey, look, man, you could win the job.
What's the earliest you think you see him, Walker Howard?
Not
Southern.
No, Southern's probably too early, but
because they're still trying to figure. I'd imagine there's still a pretty heavy quarterback debate going.
Yeah,
into
and look, I'm big on when you have quarterback competition, especially early in the season, for getting your guy as many reps as you can. So if Garrett Nussmeier's a quarterback, play him all 4 quarters against Southern.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, play him. I know that you got to have a dependable backup and a guy that you can count on, but to me, first team reps are more important. And if you got a first team guy that hadn't gotten and look, that's one thing that we're going to have to follow that we'll have to follow in fall camp. How many reps is each guy getting? One of the frustrating things that we heard about Walker Howard in spring camp was once he got healthy, he couldn't get a rep. Well, Miles Brennan wants all the reps. Garrett Nussmeier's in a huge competition for the starting job. He wants reps. Jaden Daniels trying to prove himself to new teammates and coaches. He wants the reps. So now you're 30 minutes into practice and Walker Howard hadn't taken a snap yet. So, there is going to be a lot of, you got to make the most of every single rep in this competition to secure your spot in the discussion. And how they divvy up those reps early on in fall camp is really going to dictate on how each prospect and player has the opportunity to present their case. Present my argument on why I deserve to be the starter. So, it'll be interesting. Graham Kelly, basically I'm saying any time and effort used on a guy committed elsewhere who doesn't flip could have been used to secure someone else not committed anywhere. That could be the extra edge that wins it. I hear you, Graham, but in the world of recruiting, nobody ever feels secure about anything. That's the thing. I'm with you that, look, you want to point your direction and focus your energy all in the right areas and where you can maximize everything you're doing, but it's a very unscientific strategy in recruiting, right? In the sense of you want to stay balanced, you want to stay measured in the way that you build the class, but a lot of times, specifically at times right now where recruiting is going 100 miles an hour and people are taking visits and coaches are texting and DMing and making relationships and establishing communication, and everybody's kind of talking to one another and everybody's going places and everybody's visiting campuses and everybody's getting messages here and messages there and hearing from this coach and talking to that coach, and everybody's getting it a little differently, right? You don't know what the other side's feeling. Like take Zalance Hurd, for example, right? We talked to a couple of coaches around Hurd's recruiting last week, LSU, Texas, Oklahoma. All 3 schools said the same thing. They feel like they're the team to beat. Now, when you look up at Texas and they don't get an official visit for Zalance Hurd, tells you a little something. You realize Zalance Hurd took that weekend to go to Nebraska to visit Mickey Joseph and that staff with the Cornhuskers rather than going to Austin. It tells you a little something. Right? But you everybody's kind of playing the guessing game. You feel like you're good because when you made the pitch, he was very receptive. And, everything was, yes, sir, I'm in, yeah. Who knows what he's telling the other schools? That's the game and the gamble that you play in recruiting that you can't ever really put your finger on. You can't really, you feel like you've done your best and that they've heard the best pitch that you have, but who knows how it's going to settle. So I'm with you. Look, man, I'm with you, Graham, that they've got areas of concern here where they need to start really getting on the ball on offensive line and defensive back, and you've got to start getting after some areas of concern. But, I don't know if you're ever really truly satisfied or at least secure in your feeling when you're talking about recruiting.
A lot of dudes at the bar.
For sure.
Brian, she ain't home till she's home.
Brian Kelly to GOAT, anything you're hearing on the starting quarterback job, or who do you think will start week 1 Look, we've talked a lot about the quarterback job here at LSU. I think it's going to be a really good competition. At the end of the day, I think Garrett Nussmeier is going to be the number one quarterback for this team for the majority of the season. Whether he takes the first snap against Florida State, I could still hear where Miles Brennan takes that snap because of
How many quarterbacks do you think you see week 1?
I think you only see one.
Worst case, 3.
Worst case, 3.
Or best case, 3, where you beat the brakes off.
I'm not trying to replay the Rose Bowl last
No,
year.
you don't want 3 quarterbacks playing.
No matter what. 45-10.
You're in trouble.
We got 3
45-10.
Yeah, get them all
that's
in
a
there.
good sign.
But if it's what?
But I mean, if
17-7,
you're
down
third
10
quarter
at half,
wondering if you can get any production from your second or third guy,
we're in a tight spot, coach.
That's a bad spot. It's a bad spot.
If y'all throw the ball one more goddamn time.
But to answer your question, BK to GOAT, I would say that Miles Brennan starts game 1, but Garrett Nussmeier ultimately is the number 1 quarterback on LSU's team in 2022.
How quick's the leash?
Probably pretty quick.
You're starting MB to
probably
to keep
pretty
him
quick.
in the boat, right?
Probably pretty quick.
All things created equal, you'd have Nussmeier trot out.
I mean, as soon as
You going first turnover?
As soon as the scouting report is out, where you are just getting him off his mark, and you are moving him around the pocket, and that becomes the outlook. That becomes what you're defending against, and then you put Nussmeier in that role in that situation, and he gets you out of it and makes a play. Then it becomes.
This is obvious.
You can't lose the locker room at that point because the people that know the best are the guys that are practicing alongside of them 5 days a week. And then when you turn the lights on Saturday night, who gives them the best chance to win? At that point, NIL stuff, all the locker room stuff's out the window. It's about winning games.
Yeah, we got to win a football
That's
game.
it. And if 13 gives you the best chance to win, well, then 13 needs to be the quarterback.
But don't you think Miles Brennan's going to have to take some time? He hasn't played a competitive football game in 2 years.
Have you seen him?
He's not going to look.
You can't make excuses for that at this level.
But you're going to. I mean, and I agree with you. I'd imagine he's going to start out and he's going to trot out there week 1 as the starter in New Orleans. It'll be comfortable, but it's going to be rusty. Like he's going to have to get a full half of football in before you can really make.
Yeah,
a
I'm not
change.
saying he gets pulled the second series.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think
You know
that'll
what I mean?
happen either.
But
the book's out on Miles.
But it's gonna. It might not look good the first.
Sure.
8 snaps.
Which is why you could sell Jaden Daniels being a very good change of pace package for LSU.
I said you could see 3.
So possible.
I love it.
I hate it.
How many days away are 60?
September 4th?
Mhm.
Yeah, so you're under 2 months. You're under 2 months. All right, have a great day. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Mikey Matuk will be back with you at 6 o'clock this afternoon, maybe from a new studio. Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Let's not make any promises we can't keep.
Hit that like button, share button, comment button, subscribe. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered every day by Go Chevrolet.
Bye, Katie.